A wise man once said that the best position in sports was second string quarterback, because you don't have to do jack diddly squat, and you can reap all of the rewards and benefits. But there does come a situation where danger can unfold. Per se, a championship game, 1 minute left. It's the fourth quarter. And your starting quarterback, the guy in front of you, let's call him Big Wang Ted, well, he just broke his Achilles. Or tore it. I don't know how that works. I'm not a doctor. But what I am certain is, you as a second string quarterback put in that position would probably screw the pooch. As in, most people would. But throughout human history, that same situation can be applied to being a leader of a country. Because one moment you can be riding high on the coattails of your generals who have won massive, massive victories, or the coattails of your ancestors who have led to economic prosperity throughout your nation, causing your culture to be regarded as one of the greatest during that time period. And then you can come along and just... Are we 30 seconds in? Yeah? Well, you could just come along and fuck it all up and get eaten. Well, that's exactly what happened to Johan De Witt. Johan De Witt is a prominent figure within Dutch and European history simply for being a motherfucker that got eaten. But the worst part of being eaten is the fact that you are not, in fact, the only person that is eaten that day, because his brother was also gobbled on by the townsfolk. Johan was born September 24th of 1625 in the town of Dordrecht, in the Netherlands. His early life was marked by the influence of a politically engaged family and a rigorous education, setting the stage for his remarkable journey as a statesman during the Dutch's golden era. Johan was born into a family that had strong political engagement within the fantasy kingdom known as the Netherlands, which has magical people known as the Dutch, which speak a magical language called... While Johan learned this funny little language, his father, Jacob De Witt, served as the burgomaster of Dordrecht. I didn't say that right, and I don't fucking care. Johan Daddy's position carried significant clout within the Dutch Republic, which is just a magical fucking kingdom that I refuse to look at anything less than Narnia, essentially. I mean, these guys were dressed in the most flamboyant of clothing within human history. I mean, some Pan Am shit. And in some instances, were fighting battles on ice skates against the Spanish on frozen lakes. I mean, literally, we're on fucking ice skates, dressed in the most flamboyant shit you would ever fucking see, picking Spanish dudes off on a fucking lake. The Dutch Republic was fucking Narnia, in my opinion. It's just fucking Narnia. Johan's intellectual journey began with a solid education, laying the foundation for his later achievements in life. He enrolled at the University of Leiden, a renowned center of learning in the 17th century. At Leiden, he studied law, a discipline that would prove instrumental in shaping his understanding of governance and political philosophy. During his years at the University of Leiden, Johan immersed himself in the study of law and political theory. His exposures to the works of influential philosophers and legal scholars fueled his intellectual curiosity and provided him the theoretical framework for understanding the complexities of governance. This academic foundation would prove crucial in shaping his later contributions to the Dutch Republic, known as Fantasyful fucking Magical Land of Unicorn Thoughts. Though every morning when Johan opened his front door, he was exposed to the smell of unicorn farts in this magical kingdom, Johan's early exposure to political life was not confined to the theoretical realm alone. His father's position as a burgomaster and his active involvement in local governance meant that Johan witnessed firsthand the practical aspects of political leadership. This experience instilled in him a sense of civic duty and a deep understanding of the challenges and responsibilities associated with public service. Following the completion of his education, Johan returned to Dordrecht, where he began his foray into local politics. He assumed various administrative roles, gradually gaining experience and honing his skills as a statesman. This early phase of his career allowed him to apply the theoretical knowledge acquired at the university to the practical challenges of governance. And how to constantly fight motherfucking trolls outside your front fucking door. How do you do it? I don't know. They do it in Skyrim. Don't know how the fuck they did it in this fucking Kingdom of Narnia. But since we're on the subject of fighting mythical creatures, like per se a troll, I did just spend a good few minutes here lost in thought as to how to fight a troll, and I thought this might be the best and only option. You would dig a hole, per se, in the center of town, or on a road, the path that the troll will travel. You then, because in this time period, big cannon existed, you then take the big cannon and put it in the ground. Now, I did not think, up until this point, how to ignite this motherfucker while it's in the ground. So, my only conclusion here is little Timmy is gonna have to get lathered and greased the fuck up to then slip into the hole, fit enough to ignite the fucker, and then blow said cannonball up into the innard organs of the troll. Behold my motherfucking genius. So let's stop talking about how we will end the life subscription to mythical creatures that reside in the magical kingdom known as the Dutch Republic. We'll end this with Johan De Witt's earlier life was a tapestry woven with the threads of familiar influence, educational rigor, and practical experience in local politics. The combination of these factors laid the groundwork for his later achievements as a statesman during the Dutch Golden Age. As we delve into the formative years of John De Witt, we gain insight into the making of a visionary leader whose contributions would leave an indelible mark on the history of the magical kingdom known as the Dutch Republic, later known as the Netherlands. And, I mean, the guy did great things. He also got fucking eaten. Now let's get into the reign of Johan De Witt. It spanned the mid-17th century and is a chapter in Dutch history characterized by diplomatic prowess, economic prosperity, and tragically a tumultuous end. As the Grand Penitentiary of Holland, Johan De Witt played a central role in guiding the Dutch Republic through the challenges of the time, leaving a lasting impact on both domestic and international fronts. Johan De Witt assumed the position of Grand Pensionary in the midst of the Bucktooth versus the Ice Skating Ferry Wars. The Anglo-Dutch Wars. Now, the Anglo-Dutch Wars were a series of conflicts that tested the resilience of the Dutch Republic. De Witt's diplomatic acumen came to the fore as he navigated the intricate web of alliances and rivalries among European powers of the time. His commitment to maintaining a delicate balance and promoting peace saw him engage in skillful negotiations, contributing to the Treaty of Westminster in 1654 and the Peace of Pyrenees in 1659, both of which marked diplomatic success for the Dutch Republic. And this wasn't their only success this year. They had also managed to defeat Sasquatch. Central to Johan De Witt's reign was the flourishing economic landscape of the Dutch Republic at the time. De Witt's policies embraced the principles of free trade, fostering an environment conducive to economic growth. This commitment to commercial freedom propelled the Dutch Republic to become a preeminent economic power during the period known as the Dutch Golden Age. In tandem with the economic policies that Johan De Witt had put in place, he also recognized the strategic importance of naval power at this time period. Under his guidance, the Dutch Navy experienced significant expansion and modernization. The result was a formidable maritime force that safeguarded the Dutch interest and secured control over the vital sea routes. The strengthening of naval power not only protected Dutch trade, but also contributed to the Republic's influence in global affairs. Fighting mythical creatures. Now in the ocean. Like, they were done kicking the shit out of them at their doorstep. They kept the unicorns, shot the trolls in the asshole with cannons upwards, defeated Sasquatch. There's no documentation as to how they defeated Sasquatch, but they defeated Sasquatch. Then took to the ocean to start fighting all of the mythical creatures out there. The Dutch were no longer fucking around. Johan De Witt's political ideology at the time was deeply rooted in Republican values. He believed in a decentralized government, advocating for the power of states generals and the provinces within the Dutch Confederation at this time. This stance brought him into direct conflict with the House of Orange, particularly the stadtholder, who represented a hereditary head of state. De Witt's efforts to limit the power of the stadtholder and uphold the Republican system were met with both admiration and opposition at this time. And now we arrive to the moment that we all have been waiting for. It's why you clicked on this video. It's the moment where this motherfucker gets eaten. The year is 1672, and it is known as Ramsjar, aka the disaster year. They speak a fairy tale language, I'm telling you this shit. Marked a tragic chapter in Dutch history, culminating in the brutal murder of Johan De Witt and his brother Cornelius. Johan De Witt had played a crucial role in guiding the Dutch Republic through the challenges of this time. However, as the Republic faced internal unrest, external invasions... forgot to mention, the British and the French were invading him. The thing he tried to avoid, well, it was happening. The mid-17th century was a period of great political and economic significance for the Dutch. Johan De Witt, an advocate of Republican principles, had successfully navigated the Republic through diplomatic challenges and economic prosperity. However, the year 1672 brought a confluence of crises that would test the resilience of the Dutch state. And just like pretty much every single crisis that has ever been caused in Europe, it had three components. The French, the Germans, and of course, the English. Now, in 1672, the Republic faced a three-pronged attack from France, England, and several German states that had launched invasions, seeking to exploit the internal discord within the Dutch Republic. That was caused by Johan and the Orangists. The Orangists being people that wanted the king back in power, and Johan basically being a big titty-loving, gun-running libertarian gigachad. I fucks with Johan. Now, Johan De Witt had committed to the principles of republicanism and decentralization of power. He had found himself at the center of the storm. As Grand Pensionary of Holland, he had been a key figure in diplomatic negotiations and economic policies that had propelled the Dutch Republic to the zenith. But his political adversary seized upon the difficult circumstances to sow seeds of discontent, blaming him for the Republic's woes. Now, the anti-Republican sentiments were fueled by supporters of the House of Orange, who sought to reinstate the stadtholderate and centralize power. The House of Orange had historically been associated with a strong central authority, contrary to Johan De Witt's vision of decentralized governance. The conspiracy against Johan De Witt gained momentum as political rivals, including the influential Cornelius Tromp, aligned with the Orangists. The culmination of the conspiracy unfolded in The Hague on August 20th, 1672. Johan De Witt and his brother Cornelius were accused of conspiring against the Republic and plotting the murder of William III, the young Prince of Orange. The accusations were unfounded, but the atmosphere was charged with tension and animosity. Now, as the brothers were held in prison, a violent mob descended upon The Hague. The authorities, either unable or unwilling to quell the unrest, allowed the mob to seize Johan and Cornelius De Witt. The brothers were brutally attacked, tortured, and ultimately killed. Now, what unfolded after this is what's really fucked up. So, they took both of their bodies and then took their clothes off and hung them from a pole by their feet. Then cut their livers out and ate them. They ate their fucking livers. It wasn't like a frenzy. Like, this was a totally controlled mob that just started passing human liver amongst each other and eating it. No insanity to that at all. No, you can't make that shit up. And that is the end of Johan De Witt. And this is why I started the video off with a comparison to Blue Mountain State's greatest position in sports as second string quarterback. Because being a president, vice president, king, doesn't really fucking matter. It's essentially kind of like being a second string quarterback. You can ride off the greatness of everybody around you, from your father to your brother to generals to naval admirals that conquer entire continents that are just 100 times the size of the nation you come from. But ultimately, something can happen where you get thrown into the limelight, per se, like poor Johan did with a war that he stood zero fucking chance at winning. That also had a situation of people wanting a king reinstated while he was going with a more modern philosophy to governance, like we have now, which is free trade, whatever the fuck kind of capitalism we're living in. We'll call it cyberpunk dystopianism at this point. Fuck. And now, sadly, we have come to the legitimate end of this video, which all I can ask for is maybe give me a like, maybe give me a sub, maybe a share. Better give me a fucking comment. Show up at your door. Ready to touch your chest intimately. Make sure you're getting them gains. Motherfucking Mao! Bust it down! 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 Bust it down!